Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party, and my buddy Rhett back there. She's up on her top perch. There you go, baby. There she is. And I think she's getting used to her new area. She's still a little bit weird. Ooh, I got the red light on. Let's get that blue light going. Try to have a good day today. I got a lot of work to get done at work today, so hopefully I'm quite productive. I'll tell you, like, let's say you were like, oh man, I want to tie my shoes. Let's say you got 100 people in a room and you're like, we all need to tie our shoes. And then you're like, everybody tie your shoes. Like, it's going to be very, very simple for a lot of them, and it's going to be impossible for another set of them. Like, that's just sort of the nature of life. And when you're coding, you're doing a bunch of small steps to accomplish something, and all those steps need to be accomplished. And all those steps fall into one of three categories: simple, impossible, or difficult. Right? Those are the three choices. And 99%, I think, of all issues fall in either simple or impossible. It's not like impossible, but like you don't know how to do it. It's gonna be, and I think my goal as a developer has always been to try to make it simple as simple. Simple on simple, right? Like I just want every piece to be simple. So I want to go through every process of the development experience and get them all where they're very, very simple for me to do. And then as a collection, it's simple. The problem is it's hard to tell if there is an impossible step in there. And that's what makes software development so difficult. Um, to me, that's the hardest part is like when you look at it, you're like, hey, can you how hard is it going to be for you to go from your kitchen from your office to your kitchen? But then it's simple, but then and you have a pretty good idea of everything that's in between there. But like let's say it's like, well, how hard is it going to be to go to this point 200 miles away? You don't know. Like you don't know what's in that point. You don't know anything about it. There may be a step. You know how to move from point A to point B, and you know how to drive. You know how to do all the things, but you don't actually know what all the challenges are. And it's sometimes very difficult. Okay, so right now the problem is that we're trying to solve is that if you go to entities, are you kidding me? Data entities, and you add an entity in. You add a visualization, and then you go over here and you delete that visualization, and then you come back. There's still a renderer in this list. And the reason there's a renderer in this list is because this is a list of all of our recyclable IDs, and none of them and it hasn't been recycled. So we've done all the deleting. We made sure that everything needs to be deleted and all that. So we definitely want to mark. We definitely want it to be deleted, but we need the renderer I mean, we need it to recycle. Now, I believe that the way it works is everything I have actually has an instance of the recycling service. So that's fine. We just can't, the recycling service can't have references to that. And that's just an Angular thing. Um, but I believe it's this dot render service. No, sorry, recyclable service, recyclable sequence service dot, and we want to recycle ID, and then st renderer ID. We want to get that one back. Maybe come back. Oh, let's see. It is 8:55, so I actually have to be at work in 5 minutes. I think it's probably like 43 degrees Fahrenheit, 49 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is Friday, the 10th of April. All right. Let's let this thing get reloaded. I'm hoping that when we go over there, And this would be like one of those things that would be really hard, like because the reality is this is the final step, not the only step. Um, I think this is going to work. Yep, sorry. Now this is gone because we actually deleted. All this is the list of the IDs that have been registered. It's not deleting it here. Recycling the service does not delete the actual mesh. This kind of stuff deletes the mesh, but it does look like mesh is probably the next one to work on. And before we delete a mesh, we have to delete its geometry before we delete geometry. And we have to check to see. So there's two steps before you delete a mesh. One is to check to see to delete its children, and then the other is to check to see that it is in fact. First, you need to check that it's not being used. You don't want to delete the children if it is being used by somewhere else, because a mesh can be used in multiple places. But anyway, so when we do a render service, before we before we do that, we also delete the camera and we delete the scene. And then before we the scene should have here, let's add one. So you see our renderer has a render ID, a camera ID, and a scene ID. A scene has a list of mesh IDs. So before it deletes itself, it needs to delete the mesh ID and then the mesh IDs. But before the mesh ID, or at least it needs to send the mesh ID delete. And then the mesh IDs need to make sure that they're not being used anywhere else. So delete scene by ID for renderer. Go to definition. Now, here we are. All right, so here's where we delete it, and then I think do we get, okay, so at this point, we are deleting the scene, and the scene has a list of mesh IDs, so we need to delete scene by ID. This piece is where, and then here's where, okay, so we're deleting the meshes for the scene ID. So we might actually even be deleting the meshes. And so this, if that is true, then this is like what you would call a memory leak. So let's go to delete meshes for scene ID. I wonder if that even, yeah, okay, I need to know that because I need to ask the scene system what if there's any scenes that are using it, and if there are, then we need to, um, if there are, then we need to delete it. Um, if there are, then we need to, if there are other than the one that we passed it, we need to, so like we need to say, hey, uh, what are, so need to get a list of scenes using this scene, using this mesh ID. And if there are any other than the passed in one, then don't delete it. Otherwise, attempt to delete the children and delete self, delete recycle self, and recycle both. All right. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.